Welcome back, brothers and sisters of Christ. My name is Brianna and I'm back with another video. And for today's video is don't allow people to persuade you. Don't allow people to persuade you, tempt you, or talk you into doing anything you don't want to do. Anything that's no longer good for you, not good for your health and most importantly, your relationship with God. Especially if God has already delivered you from such things. Something interesting that I've noticed on my journey with God, when I made the decision to stop completely drinking, multiple people, as I mentioned before, were still encouraging me to drink. You know, they was acting as if it wasn't a big deal, acting as if I was being too hard on myself. Like, oh, you can have a drink sometimes for special occasions. Oh, they drink wine in the Bible, blah, 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 right? A lot of those very same people either stop drinking themselves or want to stop drinking, or even if it's not drinking, it could be a different bad habit, like for an example, smoking. So this made me a bit confused as to why encourage someone to do something that you yourself has stopped trying to do. Now, I'm not saying there was any evil agenda or ill intent with these individuals, but it just didn't quite make sense to me. Another example, someone who no longer smokes was telling me about a coworker of theirs that smokes a lot of cannabis, because I don't know if I think I already said it, but yeah, cannabis. And the person that I know was telling me, the coworker, he was telling the coworker, like, I don't smoke no more. But the coworker continued to try to get this person to smoke. The coworker continued to tempt this person into smoking. But the person kept refusing. So eventually the coworker stopped tempting this individual once he realized this person was serious. Like, they don't smoke no more. Like, give it up. But the next thing we know, the coworker admitted to being inspired by this person and that person's relationship with God, that person's walk, that person's self-control and discipline. The coworker stated before, like, he could never give up cannabis. Like, he had no intentions on it, never thought about it. He can't live without it. But at this point, now that coworker has stopped trying to smoke cannabis. And is also at the beginning of trying to pursue the Lord a little day by day. This person tells me, like, the person began asking about the Lord and asking about the Bible and stuff since that person has been speaking about the Lord and gave up cannabis. And that's why it's important, for one, to be disciples, y'all. It's important to spread the gospel and plant those seeds, because they listen. Like I said, they may give a little pushback at first, but then they come to their senses. But I'm saying this to say, according to my observations with my experiences of this and the person I know experience, when you're trying to stop doing something, some people will tempt you on purpose to knock you off your cue. In some cases, because some people don't want you to advance. You know what I'm saying? If they're not advancing, they don't want you to advance. They want you to remain where you are, which meets where they are. You know, some people want to see how serious you are. You know, they think it's a joke until it's not a joke, until they see that you're serious. Because a lot of people say, I'm gonna stop drinking, I'm gonna stop smoking all the time, and they never do it. Because I've said it so many times back in the days. I'm like, I'm done drinking, I'm gonna stop drinking. But that was before, you know, that's when I was trying to do it without the Lord. That was before I sought the Lord, before I really knew the Lord. I couldn't do it with my own strength. So I guess people think, you know, you just playing around, like, girl, get this drink. You always say that, you know, you just talking. But when they see that you're for real, they become curious, like, how are you without this? You know what I'm saying? You've been saying you was going to do this and you never did it. They become curious. But they can't do nothing but respect it. And that's what happened, I believe, in the situation with the person with the coworker. They kept trying to persuade this person to smoke, and they kept refusing. Like, I'm on my walk with the Lord. I'm not smoking no more. And when they seen that person was serious, I feel like that's when they gained respect for that person and respect for what they had going on, because they like, okay, they not letting up. They serious. This is not a game. And that's when they became inspired, because they respected it so much, and it became inspiring. Like, wow, you are for real. I hear people say this all the time, but you are for real. And then some people simply don't mean any harm and become inspired, like I said, you know, by your change and you standing on that business. So now they want to see if they can do the same. And they can do the same as long as they have the Lord by their side. So it's like, for them, they're thinking like, Lord, if you did it for them, you can do it for me. And he can and he will. You know, especially if it's a habit that they've been trying to kick for a long time and they can't kick it. Yeah, I can only imagine how inspiring that is. I can't confirm or deny which path all these individuals were taking. I know the young man, he admitted to being inspired, but, you know, I can't, you know what I'm saying? But these are the possibilities when this happens. But don't let anyone tempt you to fall back into a cycle that God has delivered you from and got you out of, baby. You'll find yourself back in a cycle, because we know when you go back, 7 more demons are coming this time, baby. So it's going to be harder to get out the second time than it was the first time. Meanwhile, those same people that tempted you done stopped smoking or drinking themselves, you know, after they done sat up there and tempted you and got you, had you fall. I'm not gonna say got you, because you make your own decision, but you know what I mean. Like, you, if you didn't tempt me, I wouldn't have did it. You know, you tempted me, but now you struggling to get back to where you were. The very things they persuaded you to do, they're no longer engaging in. And that's why it's so important to stand 10 toes, because if you don't, you will allow people to ruin what you got going on, and you will allow people to ruin your relationship with God. And I think not. You know, and the enemy is using any and everybody, baby. Any and everybody around you, family, friends, knowingly, unknowingly. That's why I don't listen to people, you know, who claim that I'm doing too much on my journey, because no tea, no shade, respectfully and humbly. Those same people would do the same if they had the self-discipline and self-control. You know, deep down inside, a lot of people want to stop smoking. A lot of people want to stop drinking, but they can't. I've been there. I've done that. You know what I'm saying? It took for me to find the Lord. It takes to find the Lord. You can't do it with your own strength. So that's what I'm saying. When they see other people doing it, it's like, how is this possible? Some people won't like it. Like I said, they try to knock you off your cue. Some people become inspired. You know, there's many different outcomes that can come with it. But I'm not saying, you know, do it for these reasons. But this adds to the list on why it's important to remain steadfast and not let anyone trick you out of your position during this walk, baby. You cannot let nobody trick you out of your position on this walk. I'm telling you. I am telling you. Because people that be saying negative stuff about you or to you, I'm telling you, if they had the chance, they would be doing the same. A lot of people do not have a self-discipline and self-control. And because people are watching you and they want to see how serious you are, depending on your walk, depending on your actions during your walk, baby, they may decide to take the same walk and the same path, let you remain steadfast. And that's why it's so important to remain steadfast, to be 10 toes, baby, to stand on their business. People are watching Christians left and right, baby. And you could be the reason that somebody decides to give their life to God, because they see how your walk is going. You know what I'm saying? They see in the self-control, the self-discipline. They see God moving in your life. They see changes being made. So you have to stand 10 toes, and you cannot just let anybody come and say any old thing and then you falling right back into nonsense, baby. People take those type of Christians as a joke. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the young man probably was tempting that individual. The coworker was tempting that individual because he like, you know what I'm saying? People hear that all the time. Christians saying, you know, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. But you find them doing it. And, you know, sometimes, you know, it happens. People backslide. People fall back into sin. It happens. But when they come across one that is solid, baby, they standing firm in their beliefs and their word, they know it's more to it. They know, like, yeah, they serving a God. Because how? I done seen it all. I done heard it all. But this person is not budging. They not moving. It ain't nothing you can do to break them and shake them, baby. I'm talking about unbreakable, unshakable faith. I'm talking about steadfast, baby. When you walk with the Lord. Don't get me started, because I'm getting excited. But if this word is not for you, it's for somebody else. But remember, I'm telling y'all this because I love y'all. God bless. And remember to remain steadfast, baby. Don't let nobody trick you out your position. You came too far. You have came too far. But God bless.